Welcome to ABC in the Morning, live on ABC News GH. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I am ABENA MANTE. It's the 7th day of January 2026, and it's a beautiful Wednesday morning. 7th January, what does it remind you of? You know, in the calendar of our country as Ghanaians, 7th January is an important day. We swear in our president on 7th January. A year ago, last year, President Mahama was sworn in for his second coming, as many called it. And so today is Constitutional Day. We remember the Constitution, and we are grateful that we have a very stable democracy too. As a people in this part of Africa, we really appreciate how we're able to grow our democracy, engage our democracy, and live harmoniously. But yes, today is 1 year since President Mahama and his government were sworn into office. Today, the president says that he will be holding an inter-denomination service at the forecourt of the Jubilee House, and it's an interdenominational Thanksgiving service, or let me use the right word on the flyer, a non-denominational Thanksgiving service, and it's to celebrate 1 year of President Mahama resetting, rebuilding, and renewing, and it's happening at the forecourt of the presidency at 8 a.m. today. When it's time for the non-denominational Thanksgiving service, we'll do well to bring you snippets so that we see what's also happening there at the 1 year Thanksgiving celebration of President Mahama. But as we take a look at 1 year of this president and his government being in power, you are the people who the government is for all the time. It's why we place a lot of emphasis on you here on ABC in the morning, because the people are paramount, the people are important, the people are who the politicians come to come and ask that you give them your mandate so that they rule, they serve the nation. As well as a Ghanaian, how would you rate President John Dramani Mahama and his government's first year in office? We've given him 4 years, a 4-year mandate for which he has to rule the country, lead the country, and move us forward. In coming, the president said he was going to reset Ghana. That was the tagline. So far, how has the reset been for you as a Ghanaian? How would you rate the president? Would you say that the president is on the right path? The president is doing a great job? How would you rate the president's work so far? From Monday, we've been having conversations about the president and his government's work. We've had very interesting comments. From one side of the political divide has been amazing. From another side of the political divide, it's nothing to write home about. But we come to you outside of the two major political parties and ask, how has President Mahama's first year been like? Have you enjoyed it? And so we will be looking forward to hear it from you. In reviewing the president's 1 year, one thing that stands out is the fight against illegal mining. Right from the former government's tenure up until now, Ghanaians have been vocal about illegal mining, especially as illegal mining affects every facet of our lives. It does not matter if you live in a mining prone area or not. At the end of the day, it has a rippling effect on all of us. The president, during the campaigning season, and his party, the NDC, were very vocal about ending illegal mining. So far, how has the fight been? This morning on our front story, we'll take a look at the mining sector and look at illegal mining, irresponsible mining, as many also call it, and see how the fight has been so far. Have we been able to win the fight against illegal mining? Well, and you know, like I mentioned earlier, today is 7th January, the Constitutional Day. A few weeks ago, the Constitution Review Committee presented its report, and it outlined some recommendations on what should be done to the current constitution that we enjoy, the 1992 constitution, some of the parts that could be looked at. But so far, as a people, Constitution Day how have we upheld our constitution as a nation? How have we journeyed with the constitution? Nobody is above the law, as they say. Nobody is above the constitution. We all work within the remit of the constitution, the 1992 constitution. You know, Ghana has gone through so many up until the 1992. So far in our democracy, as a people, how has the 1992 constitution served us so far? We'll have all of this for you today on the show. We'll also bring you the latest in the world of sports, and we'll also look forward to speaking with you on ABC on Ghana Speaks, where you can call us on 053-916-1609. We are streaming live on our socials at ABC News GH, Facebook and YouTube. Right after this break, we will bring you our front story.
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah.
Efia.
Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Gino Jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana Jollof.
Jollof so good.
Jollof so cool. Tasty, yeah.
What is going on here?
Enjoy Jollof the Ghana way. Gino Jollof is made with the perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. You're still watching ABC in the morning. It's time for Front Story. We take a look at the fight against illegal mining, irresponsible mining, popularly known as galamsey. This morning on our Front Story, we'll be speaking with the Media Relations Officer for the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Pakwesi Shandoff, and also be speaking with the Executive Director for Eco-Conscious Citizens, Awula Sewa. President Mahama, yesterday at the University of Ghana New Year School, spoke about illegal mining, talked about government's efforts in fighting this menace. He said that it's not been an easy fight so far. Well, let's have some conversation. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're so grateful that you've joined us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and your listeners.
Thank you so much, Awula. Shandoff, I hope I have you with me.
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
ABENA,
thank you so much for joining.
Happy New Year to you.
Okay.
Happy New Year, Pakwesi.
Happy New Year, Olasowa. Of course, Happy New Year.
Okay. Well, so let's begin. Yesterday, President Mahama was at the New Year School at the University of Ghana talking about the fight against illegal mining. He talks about all stakeholders coming together, joining government, tackle this menace. He also talks about the fact that with the work that his government has been doing through the 9 months, they see that illegal, the fight is yielding some results. Let me start with you, Pakwesi. As you are at the ministry, you see what is happening firsthand. Really, 1 year into President Mahama's government, how have you fought this menace?
Okay, ABENA, so once again, good morning to you and again to Aulasewa and indeed to all of our listeners who are connected and listening to this particular conversation. I observed the comments of the president yesterday. Specifically, he praised and commended the efforts of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat as well as the Blue Water Guards, indicating that for a place like River Ayensu, he has seen, as it were, he's been able to observe pretty much significant improvements in the color of the of the water, and therefore he's hopeful that there is more. That particular comment is basically what we at the ministry also believe, in the sense that we are also very much excited about the marginal improvements and the gains that we've been able to chalk so far. But the real issue is that we are not overwhelmingly excited, because if you look at the quantum of work that has to be done, and if you examine the load that is currently upon us, clearly you would see that the battle is far, 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 far from over. Like we've always been saying, now we have a total of about 5,500 hectares of land that have been completely decimated and lost to the menace of illegal mining. This is in addition to the countless water bodies that have lost their taste and their pristine color. So yes, maybe yes, there are marginal improvements at some places. There are improved turbidity levels at a number of noticeable places, but that, like I said earlier, is far from over. And so, though within the first year we could say that we've made some relevant progress across the operations of NIMOS and the routines of the Blue Water Guards, we are not complacent at all. We are not resting on our laurels, because there is so much more to be done. And that is why, by way of conclusion, I would want to say that this year, for example, we are simply going to do a double or perhaps triple of what we did last year. And that would include, for the first time, the permanent deployment of NIMOS personnel to all the relevant flashpoints. Today is Wednesday. Just this Monday, I was privileged to be part of a conversation, sat in a meeting at NIMOS, a planning meeting that is actually part of NIMOS's routine anyway, to discuss the permanent deployment. It's going to take the shape of a 24/7 uninterrupted surveillance across all the water bodies in Ghana. So imagine all the water bodies in Ghana. You're going to have permanent military and NIMOS personnel stationed there for as long as is possible. And that's part of the deterrence measures that we are rolling out, because consistently we are always getting updates. Sometimes we even become overwhelmed with the updates. Aulasewa, for example, consistently will send you places where illegal mining is festering, where people have entered, where people have gone to, and all of that. And you see, sometimes we are not able to respond immediately because we do not have a structure for permanent deployment. But now all the relevant flashpoints, the places that Awulasewa and every other person has been talking about, we just want to permanently station the NIMOS personnel there, because the illegal miners that we are dealing with, a trend that we have realized is that they are very obstinate and extremely recalcitrant, in the sense that if you go and execute and carry out an operation in a particular area, Abna, the next time, by the time you are on your way back to Accra, they've gone there again. So you cannot afford to deal mildly with them by just running routine operations. The strategy has to be that the strategy has to be more permanent than we have. Indeed, we announced this measure some months ago. The only reason we couldn't operationalize it was the fact that we needed the necessary financial clearance, because if you are going to do such a heavy deployment, certainly you need financial motivation and incentives. Thankfully, that clearance has now been given, and so we are hoping that from now, latest to the end of the first quarter of this year, that permanent deployment will become a permanent feature of our fight against illegal mining, while we continue with the rest of the measures in the fight so far. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I'm done. I'm done with my submission for now.
Welcome back. I sincerely apologize for that loss in sound, but we are having some conversation on the fight against illegal, irresponsible mining. Speaking with the Media Relations Officer for the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Pakwesi Shandoff, and Awula Sewa, the Executive Director for Eco-Conscious Citizens. I'm so sorry we lost you, Awula and Shandoff. Thank you for staying with me. Shandoff, you on a note, I will come back to that, but let me quickly bring Awula into the conversation. Awula, you hear Shandoff and
Abena, just hold on a second. I want to believe that so everything I said earlier was carried.
It was carried, Shandoff. It was carried.
Okay, all right,
yes.
Thank you.
Well, I'll come back to the recalcitrant nature of some of the miners you mentioned. I would like to dwell on it for a while, but let me quickly let Awula weigh in on the conversation. Awula, it's been more than a year of campaigning against illegal and irresponsible mining. This government came into power in resetting the country. Illegal mining is one of the things that found prominence in its conversation. You hear Shandoff and hear what the ministry has been doing in the fight. If you were to take account of what government has done so far in this year, well, how would you look at it?
Well, I mean, I will agree with Pakwesi that a lot more needs to be done. Nobody can say that nothing has been done. That would be unfair. But a lot more needs to be done because of the magnitude of the problem we face. It's like we have about 1,000 fires burning at once. So we really need to have more resources to fight this canker. I believe that one thing that we need to do is to properly equip the Forestry Commission so that they can take care of our forests, our forest reserves, and then NAMOS can take care of the rest of the problem because of the magnitude of the problem. And we need to release more resources, not just, first of all, protective attire and so on and so forth, but also more men so that you have more boots on the ground. And also one thing that is missing is the genuine involvement of the community. Now, I keep on giving the example of Atronsu, where the community, which was actively fighting illegal mining, actively protecting their Tronsu stream, the only source of drinking water in the community, from the irresponsible mining. They are facing criminal charges. They are being prosecuted for allegedly destroying or burning 2 excavators, which they deny. And those who poison the once pure at Tronsu stream are walking free. When you have that kind of scenario, it undermines the government's fight against illegal mining. Now we have the example in Gemma. My brother Parkwisi has been there, so he knows that thanks to the very visionary chief they have, Nana Enuku Anod II, and community champion Father JB, who has mobilized the community, they have actually taken a stand against illegal mining, and they are fighting it. So there's virtually no illegal mining in Gemma. They have a challenge with the rainforest, which I believe they'll get support with. But in the case of Atronsu, because their chief is not as visionary as the Gemma chief, they have a problem. And recently, when there were about 3 excavators in Atronsu, we tried contacting NAMOS, and I totally understand that NAMOS is overwhelmed. So they were unable to come to our help when we called them, not because they didn't want to, but because they are overwhelmed. So precisely because they are overwhelmed, we really need to support community that are helping the fight against illegal mining. Prosecuting them sends a very, very negative message.
Persecuting them, that's one of the things that I would also be dwelling on today. But Pakwesi, let's go back to the recalcitrant nature of these miners. You go, you sack them, or you drive them out. The next moment they are there, for which you're looking at setting up permanent surveillance in there. But what could be the underlying factor for which some of these miners would risk everything to return? Because if officials, government officials, persons who have been tagged, empowered to deal with this matter have come and dealt with it, and you still want to come back, is it that there are powerful hands that are still spinning the wheel, or are the ones that are telling them where and what to do? Because a few days ago, some Chinese were arrested, and the comment was that, well, they do not fear because there are powerful people behind them. Are you facing challenges on that regard?
Yes, on that score, indeed, on that score, it is fair to admit that we are facing challenges with respect to the recalcitrant and the obstinate nature of the illegal miners. Because, like you rightly indicated, under normal circumstances, if they are cleared or arrested, at least that should be enough for them to think twice and pause on their activities. But consistently, they keep on returning, and so it begs the question, like you rightly posed, what could be the motivation? What could be the rationale, the reason, and the incentive they keep coming back to post? There are 2 things that we have observed in our diagnosis of the issue. The first is that, mining is a very lucrative and profitable venture. And so because of the financial incentive, it is apparent that they have become very relentless. They do not care, even if their very lives are threatened. Because of the financial incentive, they would always come back and, hope that they are able to succeed. But a more complex issue is those who finance and give them the imprimatur and the gusto to, if I have to put it that way, to keep on moving. Basically, the big fishes and the actual tycoons who mastermind illegal mining, those we normally like to say are the kingpins. The nature of their operation is such that they are very relentless. I'm talking about the kingpins, because a good number of them are connected to the elite society and the upper strata of society. They feel that because of their connections and their resources, and because they have the relevant connections and all of that, they can always, as it were, circumvent the process. And that has honestly been a challenge. But the assurance that we always keep communicating, which is actually the reality, is that the sector minister that we have on sports managing the situation, that is the Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibua, has a disposition that is very healthy. Healthy in the sense that as far as everybody who is around him knows, he's not friendly to the political class in this matter. Neither is he open to their endless suggestions and all of that. No, the sector minister that we have, who is at the helm right now, has a position of zero tolerance in this particular matter. And so, in as much as yes, the political class consistently, there are elements who keep mounting pressure on him and all of that, he has that required political will. And even for me as an individual, that is the only reason I believe the fight against illegal mining is going to be won, just because of the disposition of the sector minister. And maybe I could also add that, look, as we speak, Abna, there are a lot of people who are beneficiaries of this environmental terrorism who currently are hoping that the sector minister is no longer at post. That is a reality. At every turn of the screw, there are people who are strongly lobbying and advocating for his reassignment. Why? Because of the non-negotiable posture that he has adopted in the fight against illegal mining. They feel that, and sometimes it's unfortunate, but I have to put it out. Sometimes, or let me rather say that more often than not, it is internal party members who simply have become beneficiaries and instigators of illegal mining. They feel that, look, when the NPP was in power in the Eswal administration, yes, there was some consideration that were given to members of the party to do mining inappropriately, and they benefited. So why has the NDC come and under a certain banner or under a certain inspiration of resetting, NDC people are not being allowed? And there are a good number of people who are agitated in that manner. You hear them say it. Some of them are not even shy to say that, yeah, by now, so why are you not allowing us to blah, blah, blah? We financed the party. We did this and this. So if we do some small mining, why is the minister blah, blah, and consistently they are mounting pressure, lobbying from all quarters. Some even go to the extent of fabricating lies of corruption and allegation, corruption scandals and embezzlement stories all around the minister, just to put him in a bad light for his boss and his bosses to, begin to have a rethink and all of that. It's a constant battle that we've been having. Honestly speaking, it's not an easy one. All because, yes, the minister has adopted a position. Indeed, if the minister had not adopted that non-negotiable position, of course, he will be friends to all the people who want to perpetuate illegal mining. But because of his posture, he has become an enemy to many. But I think that is in the interest of Ghanaians. That is what all Ghanaians are looking for. And that is why yesterday I had cause to say that in 2026 and beyond, we are going to see more results because of the posture. Let me add this, that President John Dramani Mahama is also very much happy with the posture of the sector minister. We have to put that on record, because indeed he too suffers some of the pressure. And so if you are the leader of the country and maybe you have your own party folks urging you or impressing upon you to take a move or take a stance, soften your stance on a matter like illegal mining. Meanwhile, you have a sector minister who is firm, who is bold and resolute. Everybody would like a minister like that by his side. And so because of that disposition, the disposition of the two of them, we are hoping that, yes, the results this year will be better and even beyond what we did in 2025.
Well, so Pakwesi, what do we place emphasis on for 2026 to say that this is the one thing that we should achieve in the fight against illegal mining? Indeed, we are seeing the results, but like Awula said, there's more that we want to see. The water levels the water turbidity could be clearing up a little bit, and you mentioned it in your earlier statement, your beginning statements, that does not mean that we are out of the woods. Turbidity could be clearing up, this could be changing, but the deposits, the heavy metal deposits in the water, in the soil, persist. And so on that side, from the ministry to how are we dealing with it?
All right. So Abna, in the year 2026, one of the major things that we're going to embark on and consider in the fight against illegal mining is active land reclamation. Indeed, somewhere last year, if my memory serves me right, around October, we began such an exercise, such an endeavor at Mansour Edubia. And in that particular respect, based on the results that we have so far, it is very clear that the lands can be reclaimed. We have, like I said, 5,500 hectares of land that have been devastated. The thing about reclamation, however, is that it is very cost intensive. The last time we had a conversation, I revealed to you that, I mean, if you want to reclaim 1 hectare of land, you are looking about a sum that is well over 30,000, 35,000, 38,000 US dollars for just a hectare of land. Indeed, recent estimations have even shot the figure high. So if even we were to peg it at, let's just use $30,000, you are looking at $30,000 times 5,500 hectares of land.
Is it the government of Ghana that is going to bear this cost, Shandoff?
Absolutely. I mean, this is certainly a national crisis, and so in terms of funding, government would take the lion's share. But of course, hopefully, we would be receiving. We are expectant. We pray actually that we are able to get support from external stakeholders and donors and even the private sector. But basically, reclaiming.
Shandoff, right, I ask that because I will say who is still with us, has been a very strong advocate for the polluter pays principle. I'm quite surprised that a polluter has messed up our land, our water, at the end of the day has made money out of it, and then the government has to pay for it. A government that is looking at being prudent in its spending. Why aren't we looking at the fact that those who are desecrating our land will have to be the ones to pay for the reclamation?
That proposition or that suggestion, honestly speaking, is not one that we have ruled out, and it is not something that we are not going to consider in our work. But the truth of the matter is that it would be a very difficult task to identify the specific individuals who have contributed to the decimation of all the 5,500 hectares of land. Okay, I don't think we would be able to immediately generate a list of all of them and then compel them to, as it were, be the financiers of the reclamation. If we are going to do that, maybe we will not get the results we are looking for now. And so while yes, we are digging, we are fishing, we are investigating, and we are trying to take them, I mean, those who the actual perpetrators, you still will have to be working. So like I'm saying, government for momentarily will bear the cost with support from external partners and donors and the private sector community. But of course, those who are identifiable characters who actually made the damage happen, yes, when we get them, which of course is a priority, certainly they are going to pay for their crimes in financial terms as well. Yes, right. But back to the focus of 2026. So land reclamation is going to be a priority, like I've been talking about. The president in particular is very much concerned about the color of the water bodies. And so, I mean, we all serve at the will and the pleasure of the president. And so if the preoccupation, for the want of a better word, I'm saying it advisedly, if the preoccupation of the president is the water bodies, certainly that becomes our direction and our priority as well. Indeed, the sector minister himself, Honorable Amakofiboa, has also been talking about the water bodies, how that he wants to see them clean as much as possible. So by way of emphasis, this year, the focus really is going to be on how to return the water bodies to their pristine nature, in addition to the land reclamation efforts, while NIMOS continues with the enforcement of law, and we also continue with the cooperative mining initiative and all the other relevant drafts of interventions that we rolled out last year, 2025.
Okay, well, let me come to you. From last year, at least from last year, you had been very vocal about the declaration of a state of emergency. Up until now, you have not received that. It has not happened yet. Mining is still happening. Government says that we haven't gotten to that point yet. As civil society, as environmentalists, as yourself, does the declaration of state of emergency that has not been done stress you out so much so that it somehow distorts the fight against Galamsey? Is it still on your desk when we look at the fight?
You see, when we wanted a state of emergency, what we actually wanted was for all the resources available to be put in the fight against illegal mining. There's a war going on. The environmental terrorists have declared war on us. And so if we really want to meet this challenge, we need to have all the resources at our disposal. That is why we ask for a targeted state of emergency. We are not just going on about it for the fun of it. We want certain things to happen. So if the government is able to properly resource NAMOS, properly resource the Forestry Commission so they can deal with our forest, and then be able to have all the men and all the logistics necessary to have simultaneous raids. You can't just go to one place today. Sometimes you are chased and forced to retreat tomorrow somewhere else. Simultaneously, there needs to be some shock and awe. Our Navy could be helping with the water bodies. The Army could be in different places. If we are able to do that without declaring a targeted state of emergency, so be it. But what we need to understand is the urgency of the problem we face. It's an urgent problem. We are being poisoned. We are being poisoned, and we must deal with the problem before we are all poisoned. Confanoche Teaching Hospital has told us that the number of kidney-related disease cases has gone up 4 times. And then let me say something very quickly. You properly talked about the polluter pays policy. If it's really working, the tribunals are there, those poisoning us are dealt with quickly, and those behind them are also dealt with, prosecuted, and then their ill-gotten assets are sold and used towards the cost of reclamation, we might be beginning to make some headway. And let me quickly also say that we need to understand what reclamation means. Recently, some land that was supposedly reclaimed was used to plant food items, and they were found to be poisoned. The produce contained higher levels of mercury than is permitted. This means that the land hadn't been reclaimed in the sense of the poisons being removed. We have very good scientists that can't reuse them. Let's not say land has been reclaimed if it is still poisoned and it cannot be used for farming purposes. Maybe it can be used for other things, but certainly not to grow crops that are going to be consumed, and even used on the skin, because as you know, the skin absorbs through the pores. So there's a lot we need to do. We cannot be patting ourselves on the back. And very quickly, the turbidity levels are something we need to deal with. But that's not the whole problem. Even if the water is clear, that doesn't make it safe. Water coming through your taps could be clear. It doesn't mean it doesn't contain heavy metals. It doesn't mean it doesn't contain arsenic or mercury. So let's be very clear, or cyanide. Let's be very clear about it. It's good to have water that is clear, but it's even more important for the water to be safe. And that is why we are asking that the water should be analyzed and published. You might recall that I believe in the 80s, we used to read the water levels at the Akosobo Dam and then publish them in the Daily Graphic and the Times. I believe the time has come for the water we are drinking to be analyzed and for the results to be published, so that Ghanaians know exactly what is happening to the water bodies. Ghanaians begin to appreciate the fact that we are being poisoned, and we need to act robustly before we are all completely engulfed.
We need to act robustly before we are completely engulfed. We're still having this conversation about the fight against illegal mining, the fight against irresponsible mining, with the media relations officer for the Lands Ministry, Pakwesi Shandoff, an environmentalist, eco-conscious citizens executive director, Awula Sewa. After this break, we'll come back and have some more conversation and wrap up the conversation. Stay with us.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come see what? Where this guy? My friend, still do for.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Amacho, sister no man ko. When is campaign? Sister no man ko. If you're baby many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti enne, wo no ba no mo pe baby amobeda. Oh no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
You're welcome back to ABC in the morning. Today is 1 year since President Mahama was sworn in as president, and we are looking at 1 year in, what has the president been able to achieve, and we are taking a look at our lands. Very important. This issue about galamsey, illegal mining, irresponsible mining has been so much in the news, and rightly so, knowing what this kind of pollution does to us, the water, the land, our food. It's a very, very big issue. Earlier in speaking with Shandov said that it may be difficult to get the people who are desecrating the lands, or all of the people who have dealt so bad with our lands, to pay for the reclamation. And it brings me to a question about prosecution. So is it that those who have been doing this and have been arrested, we do not have, we are unable to trace them? Is that the issue? Well, Shandov is still on the line. I would ask why he's still on the line. Let's go back and continue the conversation. Shandov, Naimos has made some arrests. I see that you keep updating us on the work Naimos is doing, the arrests they've been able to effect and all. What's next with the arrest? Prosecution and hopefully seeing them pay for the kind of desecration they are doing.
Well, it is indeed the case that Naimos has effected a lot of arrests over the period. Indeed, the last time I was updated on the record, Naimos has arrested well over 1,300 suspected illegal miners over the period. The other side, which does not look so glorious, is the fact that prosecution has been comparatively slow if you compare to the number and the frequency of arrest. But that in itself is not a unique challenge that is exclusive to Naimos or the ministry. Indeed, if you look at general judicial setup, the traditional configuration of justice dispensation in Ghana, you realize that more often than not, the trial of cases take a long time. And so that is the reason, particularly, we have not been able to make so much inroads with the prosecution of the suspected illegal miners. The good news, however, is that as a mitigation measure, the government, as we speak, is actively considering, and indeed plans are even far advanced in that particular respect, the operationalization of specialized tribunals to deal exclusively with illegal mining offenses. Because if you are going to allow the suspects, or those who have been arrested, if you are going to allow their trial and their cases to go through the same judicial routine, which we've all agreed over the years that sometimes it's a bit steady, maybe we may not be getting expedited results. So we are now roping in a new dispensation of justice delivery, specifically with respect to illegal mining, where the cases will be decided expeditiously through the specialized tribunals. The matter has already been decided and discussed extensively at Parliament, and it has been assented to accordingly. Right now, it will only have to be given the necessary legal tweaking and parliamentary approval. Parliament is currently on recess, as we all know, and so we are hoping that right upon resumption, the necessary I's will be dotted and the T's will be crossed in that particular respect. Then it becomes a functional feature of the fight against illegal mining. That is the specialized tribunals. Indeed, the moment they are created, they would quickly discharge and clear all the outstanding cases. The number of suspected illegal miners, like I mentioned, is 1,300 1,300 across all the flashpoints where NIMOS has embarked on its operations. It may look huge, but if you are even able to create these tribunals at each of the districts that you have, and the operationalizations of tribunals are more expedited, in a matter of 3 months at most, you should be able to clear all the backlog while you deal with the new arrests that would be effected. And so that is the way we want to go now, because honestly, if all of these cases were to join the already long and clustered queue of unresolved cases, we may not be happy with the result. But government wants to prosecute and make those who have destroyed the environment pay for their crimes. Therefore, the specialized tribunals.
Shanov, what becomes of the kingpins in this whole fight of against illegal mining? In all of the arrests you're making, it seems to suggest that it is the small fishes that we are arresting. What happens to the big fish, the people that have the money, the muscle behind this illegal mining, the financiers? Again, not too long ago in our conversation, the organizer for the NDC, was in the conversation about illegal mining, same as Abanga, who is the third vice chair for the NDC. What is the status of the investigation into their alleged involvement in illegal mining?
Right. So 2 questions. First, you are interested in the policy plan or the mechanism that we are deploying to grab the kingpins.
No, not just the mechanism. Not just the mechanism, indeed the mechanism, but also where do we see them also?
Exactly. I think it's the same thing. I get the input. Basically, we are talking about the kingpins. Now, you used an analogy to describe them, or you want to call them the big fishes. So I would use that same analogy to qualify my response. Now, if you go to the ocean, if you go to the sea, you realize that it is the small fishes who are normally at the very surface. The bigger ones, if you want to honestly grab them, really you would have to dive deeper into the belly of the ocean, and that will take more time. That same thing applies to the quest to get the actual kingpins of the big fishes who sponsor and instigate and inspire the whole enterprise of illegal mining. They are in the belly of the ocean, so to speak. And so for them, it's a bit difficult and complex to grab them because, look, like I have been explaining on other sister platforms, sometimes even the names that are presented or the names that come up as the real kingpins are mere distractions. A may be described as a kingpin, and that fellow is the one who is actually sponsoring and bringing in boys to come and do blah 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 and so place. But you delve deep, and then you realize that it is actually a distraction that is meant to take your attention off the actual instigators. So getting the kingpins requires a lot of tact and intelligence, and because they are in the belly and in the depths of the ocean, that will require more time. Yet again, what you need where they are concerned is political will, which earlier I've explained that the sector minister, Honorable Lama Kofi has that in abundance, which is to say that regardless of who is involved, regardless of the social profile and the pedigree and the status of the person, he's willing to crack the whip, reason for which there are so many people who currently want him to be reassigned and are not comfortable with his current role as the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. But he has that disposition. The president also has given him the blessing and the necessary support. And so for the kingpins, it's just a matter of time. All of them will be fished out. Now, on the case of Yamin, and indeed the third national vice chairman of the NDC, these two individuals, like we all know, were fingered, for the want of a better word, as suspects in illegal mining activities. Yes, separately and categorically, they denied their involvement. And so we are all waiting with bated breath. What becomes the outcome of that investigation? Per the last updates that I was supplied with, it is clear that the investigation process is almost completed. It is near completion. And therefore, the Attorney General in due course, hopefully from now to the end of the first quarter, would bring finality and closure to that particular issue. But I want to add that in this whole investigative process involving the two of them, maybe I have the clearance to say this. The sector minister, there have been people who have consistently impressed upon the sector minister to tamper justice with, mercy. I'm not saying that they have been pronounced guilty or they are guilty, but of course, the moment their names came up, there are those who approached the sector minister and indicated that, well, because they are members of the National Democratic Congress, look, we need to, take care of our own. You know how some of these lobbying conversations go. The good news, however, is that the sector minister's position is finalized and simple. That so long as anybody, not even them, if anybody at all is implicated and that person is found guilty, the law will take its full course. And so, because of that posture and assurance, we are hoping that the matter truly will come to its logical conclusion in the light of evidence that is available.
Well, Shanoff, before I go to Aula, indeed, the big fish are deep in the belly of the sea, and so you require more time. Government has about 3 years until President Mahama's tenure is over. How much more time is needed?
How much? When you say how much more time is needed, I see the invitation as you wanting me to assign specific timelines to when we are going to grab them. Like I said, they are in the belly of the ocean. Consistently, we are swimming. It is an endless journey, and in that swimming, sometimes the tides are a bit uncomfortable because
so the swimming could be in perpetuity.
It would, of course, it cannot be in perpetuity. I mean, it can't be an everlasting fruitless search. I just cannot assign specific timelines because indeed, today, just maybe after this conversation, we may publish a list of people who we are conclusively convinced are actually the masterminds behind it. It could also be tomorrow morning. There's a difficulty in assigning a specific timeline, but our social contract with the Ghanaian people expire after 4 years. Let's give ourselves the next 4 years. I mean, within this 4-year duration, and let's see the names and the outcomes that we are able to produce.
I ask this because we want to make sure that it's not just lip service that we are being rendered. But I'll come back and pick your final thoughts on this conversation. You look at all that government has been doing in this past 1 year. Conversations with the media relations officer for the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. The fight against illegal, irresponsible mining. Are you satisfied with how far government has come so far?
See, when we look at the magnitude of the problem and we look at the fact that we face an existential threat, we are being poisoned. Obviously, we want the problem to be solved yesterday. We understand that it's been ongoing for decades and it's not something we can stop overnight. But at the same time, Ghanaians are being poisoned and we believe that more can be done. I'll give a little example. Namos, for example, they do not even have a dedicated number that one can call and say, look, I can see an excavator moving here and there. They don't even have a dedicated number. So this is something that should be happening, but it's not happening. But we want to make it clear that we understand that those who are trying to fight illegal mining are under great pressure because it's lucrative. People are making so much money out of it. And as was in the case of the previous administration, you have people who are close to the administration who want to profit from it. And we need a firm hand to stop this. So we appreciate the fact that the sector minister will be under a lot of pressure. We appreciate the fact that there may be false rumors being circulated against him so that he will be replaced. I'll take this opportunity to commend him for ensuring that under his watch, LI 2462 was not just amended, but it has actually been revoked. We cannot not mention that. Although I will say clearly that LI 2462 does not help the fight against illegal mining. It helps the protection of our forest reserve because the environmental terrorists are not waiting for licenses to operate. They operate without licenses. But we are pleased that there's no more state-sponsored environmental vandalism in our forest reserves. But coming back to the question, we do understand that the sector minister is under tremendous pressure and we wish him the very best. But we need to make it clear that more needs to be done. NAMOS needs to be properly resourced. Resource the Forestry Commission so that they can deal with our forests. And then make sure that, and of course, resource them, make sure they have the right ammunition, bulletproof vests, and so on and so forth, so that they are not killed by the environmental criminals. But we also need to properly resource NAMOS. And we need to have more boots on the ground. We need to also have the support of communities. And as I've been saying, it's a travesty. It's a travesty that as we speak, the community activists in Atronsu who were actually helping the fight against illegal mining, they rather have been arrested. Well, they were arrested, they're on bail now. They are being prosecuted at great stress, great financial cost, while those who poisoned the pure Atronsu stream, the only source of drinking water in the community, are walking free. This does not encourage us to believe that there's a serious fight going on. We have asked time and time again that the charges against the Atronsu fight should be dropped, and that we should go after those who are destroying our environment, not those who are trying to protect it. So having said that, we know that a lot has been done. Nobody will say nothing has been done, but we have to acknowledge the magnitude of the task. Because of the magnitude of the task, we need much more to be done. Otherwise, water is life. We're, as we speak, being poisoned. Our food is being poisoned. The birth defects are going up. Maternal deaths are going up. And so we are asking that what else are we waiting for to put more robust steps in place? We can't wait for every Ghanaian to be dropping dead. Of course not. So we need robust action to be taken. And the last thing we need to do is to be fighting and prosecuting community members who are actually fighting the environmental terrorists. And we need to take instruction, or shall we say, the example of Gemma. Gemma have a very, my brother Parkwisi has been there. Gemma has a visionary chief, and they have a community champion by the name of Reverend Father Joseph Blay. As a consequence of the alliance between the two, they've been able to galvanize the community, and there's virtually no illegal mining in Gemma, even though right now they have a little challenge with the rainforest. And that is because the community, led by the chief, Nana Endoku Anor II, and Father J. Blay, have come together. But we cannot have that if the chief is not on board. So where, for example, in Atronsu, the chief is not on board, we need the support of the community. We cannot be prosecuting them. What we are doing is sending a message to other areas that don't fight the illegal mining, because if you do, you end up being prosecuted, and this is not acceptable.
Okay, Aula, thank you. Shando, finally, before you go, I see that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has gone into an agreement with the World Gold Council. You say that this alliance is going to tackle illegal mining by creating a fully traceable gold supply chain anchored by the establishment of the RECOMS DEP. Shandoff, what are we to see with this alliance?
Well, first of all, before I touch on the alliance, I want to quickly comment on the Atronsu 5.
Okay.
These are persons, like Aula has been explaining, who meant well. Indeed, their objective was to preserve their immediate surroundings and environment. And so for the fact that their mission is noble and their effort is commendable, it is rather curious if they become the targets of the law. So I want to put on record that it is an issue that I, as an individual, has brought to the attention of the sector minister. He's very much aware of it and is committed to ensuring that they are freed in the light of the evidence that is available, because clearly these persons didn't mean any evil, and so they rather should not be the target. So we're going to work around the clock to ensure that this issue does not pop up in subsequent conversations again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the charges being dropped. Thank you very much.
Sure. You're most welcome. If for anything at all, their efforts rather should be commended. I mean, just like when we went to Jima, we saw how the locals themselves had taken up the mantle of protecting the environment. If people are doing this, they need incentives, not anything that would demotivate them. Now, in conclusion, on the meeting with the World Gold Council yesterday, yes, it did happen. In fact, after that engagement, the council proceeded to the Ghana Gold Board as well. Traceability, government is not against mining, and so government also purchases gold, but we want a system where each ounce of gold that is purchased is actually traceable, in the sense that we are able to detect the organic source where it is coming from, such that if it is coming from illegal miners, we will not transact business. And that is part of our efforts to discourage the menace of illegal mining. And so we're going to tap into the expertise and the resources of the World Gold Council to create the traceability system. It's a quite complex and technical undertaking. And so I'm sure in due course, maybe at another forum, I'll offer the necessary clarifications as and when I am properly briefed on that matter. But in summary, it's basically a mechanism that will help us track the source of the very gold that we buy and the ones that are placed on the market, such that if it is coming from illegal miners, we are able to quickly route the process and then arrest them. But in conclusion, finally, because I know this is going to be my last bite in this conversation, I want to put on record, like I've always been saying, that illegal mining remains an existential threat, one that is confronting our very livelihoods, one that has the tendency of bringing all of us down. To deal with a complex issue such as this nature, yes, you do not only need an intelligent raft of interventions, you also need a political disposition that is non-negotiable, that is able to deal with anybody regardless of the social profile and pedigree and status of the person. We have that abundantly in the sector minister, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa. And so in due course, in 2026 and beyond, we should expect maximum results that would meet the expectations of all Ghanaians and that all of us are going to be proud of under the leadership of the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
All right, Chandra, thank you for that. But indeed, we'll be looking forward to this alliance that you've gone into with the World Gold Forum so that we can better appreciate it. I'm sure our viewers would love to be on board with this. But Awula Sewa, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. We look forward to engaging you the more on these matters, especially environmental issues. Thank you, Awula. Chandra, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Have a great day and all the best in your efforts against the fight, against Galamsey. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. Pakwesi Chandoff, Media Relations Officer at the Lands Ministry. Awula Sewa, Executive Director for Eco-Conscious Citizens. 1 year of President Mahama's government. What has the fight against illegal mining, irresponsible mining, Galamsey been like? Pakwesi Chandoff has outlined what the ministry has been doing in the past 1 year. Awula, as she's always been blowing the whole trumpet on the fight against Galamsey, why we need to end it. And indeed, Galamsey needs to go. It affects every facet of our lives, and we need to deal with it as decisively as we can. We'll continue to monitor the situation and continue to engage with the ministry and all other relevant stakeholders in this fight against illegal mining. But also, for you as a Ghanaian, how has the 1 year of President Mahama been so far for you? Has the resetting agenda really reset the country as you had expected? We look forward to hearing from you. We'll look forward to hearing from you on that. We'll take a break. When we return, we have more on the show. Stay with us.
Without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the Talking Point. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
I'm James Makion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come see you. Where Jessica? My friend, see the phone.
It's the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telestar Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telestar Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno banu mumpe baby amubeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. A delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper, and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yenini na da da da. So pa mediane no abe. Come on, Gino, do your magic. And Papa, no kunu abefi.
Tasty magic.
And your daddy trying to kiss keke.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
This week's been wild. New releases dropping, artists blowing up, moments going crazy on the timeline. Don't worry, we've got you.
We pull the highlights, the date, the event, everything you need to know, and then the real fun starts.
The official top 10 songs running the streets, the airwaves, and your playlists.
If the culture is talking about it, we are counting it down.
This is the rundown.
Welcome back. You're still watching ABC in the morning. Now we're still looking at President Mahama's 1 year in office. My colleague Khadija Isifu spoke with the business community to also find out from them how they assess President Mahama's 1 year, his policies, and how it has affected their businesses. Let's take a look at this. After that, we'll bring you some more in the show.
Jomani Mahama. Idebi keke. Omaya nwatoye. Okomindiye.
On the 7th day of January 2025, exactly 1 year ago, President John Dramani Mahama took the presidential oath here at the Independence Square. pledging to lead a renewed Ghana under the reset agenda of the National Democratic Congress. Today also marks exactly 1 year since Ghana swore in its first ever female vice president, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman.
I,
your name?
John Dramani Mahama,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith.
And allegiance.
And allegiance.
To the Republic of Ghana.
To the Republic of Ghana.
As by law established.
As by law established.
That I will uphold.
And that I will uphold.
I, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, having been elected to the office of Vice President of the Republic of Ghana,
to the office of Vice President of the Republic of Ghana,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will be faithful.
That I will be faithful
and true
to
the Republic of Ghana.
To the Republic of Ghana.
On that historic day in 2025, President Mahama indicated that his administration will focus on 4 critical areas. 1. Economic restoration and stabilization of the macroeconomic environment. 2. Improvement of the business and investment environment. 3. Governance and constitutional reforms. And finally, accountability and the fight against corruption, all geared towards the reset agenda.
We'll focus our initial efforts on 4 critical areas. The first is economic restoration and stabilization of the macroeconomic environment. The second is the improvement of the business and investment environment to ensure that Ghana is once again open for business. The third is governance and constitutional reforms. And the final, but not the least, is accountability and the fight against corruption. My brothers and sisters, actions have always spoken louder than words. With that in mind, I have entered into a covenant with you, the good people of Ghana, in which I have enumerated 26 actions that I'll take within my first 120 days. We need a reset with the faith we have in our country and our leadership. We need a reset with the faith we have in our institutions. We need a reset with our faith in our dear nation, Ghana.
Whether or not President Mahama has fulfilled his promises lies in the bosom of the very people who gave him the mandate to lead the country. And so we take the story into the hearts of our marketplaces to find out from the people their general assessment of President Mahama's 1 year in office. Let's engage some traders in Makola.
Dramani Mahama, idebi keke. Idebi keke. Oma ye ho atoye. Okomi ndiye. Omo aba, anwa aba. Afi we ade na ento kakra na nyame wo ho eye. Bibia besisa. Nti asemo enu nie.
Eduane de meka se mema no Mahama me ma na metimi ama no beye 85% cause wa yade. Hwe 1 year animu na 1 year no yedua ye die ne yenhye den hu bibia mefa ne se ebebo ye fom biara nyema ye hu na ye mpuntu because of say ska no dollars na ba fom nti ne tembia no obia nso nya mpuntu na ne dwadie mu nti mema no be 85%. Ghana ha ne de mi hu yi ayakasa yi a we de eye baneda tembia enye saa ne ka no but mi de mi hu ne se Mahama wa yade
si Mahama de wa yade pa wa bomode aka kraska obema skaba nti bes abotarni ne benya ya pede son trans no share su yi pa de yeto ya to ade nya botel bia be yi bia be koso
say nyama sisa kakra nti mpai bonkwa na yedi
Some traders say President Mahama is doing his best to improve the country's fortunes and deserves commendation, urging the public to remain patient as his policies take effect. Others at Makola markets, however, say business has slowed since the president took office. While sales remain low, they hope conditions will improve as the year progresses.
Because last year, then you more than so near Tadia my Mamma buy them marketing. I have basa. I imagine say beer. No 1 year now, and your mamma the name and break a crack aka when the name.
Although the city has fluctuated over the past year, the Mahama administration has been credited with initiating reforms that have helped stabilize the currency, offering relief to businesses and households that previously struggled with sharp depreciation and inflation. Yet, despite the city's relative appreciation against the US dollar, some spare parts dealers at Aboseokan say the gains have not translated into better business as demand remains weak.
Politician for Keke. Who am I say? Abre. It's say. Oh, no, Bompire say, a Juma away, no. We number our dominant be. As all could do, Machine said, or Market Candia. And I call black rent to me, me who she me who be beer, say, or by a BB assassin. And yet, I saw no be the president, though, and your friend Obo. Into a continent who say, and your mamma, yeah, say, no, Nina, and could you do them a bad year? As a man, you must say, assassin. 1 year, you suye, because. Send or buy the first 3 months, no. Send an any mamu air colony who say business, no, Bible so can. Now, expect so bet me and make it. And never me my businessmen, but they say no. Rebecca say dollar back from the bet. Okomwa, and send me blame because when your man a tona surprise now, you who say senka. A rating not above for my own. The general business in it, dear. Say that it's a face now. Well, it's a face now. Mahama, no, not doing this, a $1 and a coffee, ma, and it be a business bit to my cost on every because dollar never coffee. One is a son of cratch as a woman ye be. It will not be Bogan or no be quabruch in the ban or so could you do no man a duty no. A netia. It's can't tell me, I was so Oma Oba. Nanka only business for no Asia. Well, no obisa kwan obefa so a ebeboa. Na individual na kwaye say me na makofa ma de na me pena me de beje. Tewi abra ho ahon ne krofo. Na mamoni ekon onya hwe. Onya se animu no obibia. Onya de won system no na so far no de atwam ni na so onya ehu Mahama nye ehu. In short of pounds of modern. Your mama no de mama moko kasa nche no. Obecha and drop more Casantrano. All bano. What's it 24 hours? 24 hours.
Other dealers, however, argue that 1 year is too short a time to fairly judge the president's performance, describing his efforts so far as encouraging.
BBI and marketing na say I used to look kakra, but a woman on or off. And no man also is stable. It's Yadana said. $1 na my buy a bumpire man. Atana she say, oh, yeah, Jumadensa, and $1 no, and some from Monday to Friday in a woman. 1 day, 2 days, we are not picking up a woman, Abalu, sanity, and Sana Babondet, eti Yabona Basso. Only no one Jumadena, Omo Bangan, and $1 and I'm for Messiah.
Mama, they try, they do him best, they do everything. Right now, he come, and so definitely, he should try, he go before things to sit up. Because of these people, they come spoil everything in the system. They spoil everything. They condemn everything in the system. But I see today, this Christmas, I swear, anywhere you pass, people are sharing rice. are sharing oil and money. Last 4 years or last 2 years, before you go get somebody to buy rice for you, safe, it's hardly.
Mama about 1 year and me and Kaze and yes, I did it 1 year. The over back 1 year no baby. I think you to tatai. And the Yohan Kakra day. Emily Con anymore, Yohan Kakra. Dollar near the number from Kakra, and here is a beer, a man and Conan Kakrano, and my best son. I say, Banchokrani be a 1 year fin airbo. And the I was say, in your time Kakra, the man. I don't land the above from. And so we name on a duty, no, the Tiano Yede, a team neighbor, the man and Titus Untimentus, so there. Send a dollar above on the can man do the above, can remember from more. Now duty 90 in Jama and your man to me a day. A bar is a country another prani bibia, a emre. Won't mean for 8 man 1 year and enjoy general. I feel no boost to train, but we're only 1 year now. Why are they? We had dollar. They say dollar baby I be drew now. Can you could do 17 now? No, it's almost 11. And I saw here near my boy, near Manso Boaba from Kama. Previous government helped me a sanity. But who can't come in? And no more cranny money, dear dances in the system, and another corner above from dollar a year more, cranny my buy. Can you hear a name of boy? Now so here a year, a year papa, and Kakra, be why are they?
How me buy no? A munti sumuntum suye. Select but your tongue so. Obi oboto ba bi also ba obo bless say the man time kakra here be say be free up to June work on and as 2 years 2 years if I say man be 2 years na say who should dey who say be the be ya na be ya no
At Makola, the traders believe that the president is still new in office and so he needs more time to be able to do what is needed. Some agree that buying and selling is not as it is some years back. But they also believe that if the government puts in place better measures, things will go back to the way they all hope for. Here in Abosokai, the story is not too different from that in Makola. The spare part dealers here are saying that the government needs to put in measures to safeguard their businesses. They appreciate the president's efforts so far, but they also believe that there's little money in the system. Business is not as it was some years back, and so the president can do more. The people have spoken. Their thoughts are clear. From Makola Market to Abosokai Enclave, Khadija Isifu, ABC News Ghana Television.
So that's the report by my colleague Khadija Isifu, the business community reacting to 1 year of President Mahama and his government in power. After this break, we'll bring you more conversation on our main discussion.
Playing for your country, and easy. Scoring, and easy. Winning, and easy. You know what be easy now? Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. I easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. You're still watching ABC in the morning. It's now time for our main discussion, and we're looking again at President Mahama's 1 year in government. And also, since today is Constitution Day, we will look at our democracy under the 1992 Constitution. how has the 1992 Constitution helped our democracy, deepened our democracy, helped us get better as a people so far? I have joining me Janet Nabla and Dennis Kwakwa for this conversation this morning. Madam Janet Nabla is the founder of the People's National Party, and Dennis Kwakwa, former Ashanti Regional Communications Director for the NPP. Good morning, and thank you for joining me this morning. Hello, Dennis, can you hear me?
I hope you are doing well.
I'm fine, thank you. Madam Nabla, can you hear me too? Good morning. Oh, we'll have Janet Nabla join us soon. Dennis, today's Constitution Day. So first of all, happy Constitution Day to you.
Well, I wish you a happy Constitution Day.
Well,
and, in regards to all Ghanaians who have lived to protect and defend the Constitution for these years, having studied history, it tells us that this is the longest Constitution we've had as a country since 1957.
Right.
And so it is something that we have to applaud, irrespective of the downsides of its manifestation. But I believe that we all have to enjoy the day, especially as it is a holiday that is going to be enjoyed on Friday.
Right. Well, Dennis, we'll start from President Mahama's first year in government, and then we'll narrow it down to our constitution later on in the conversation. Today, President Mahama will hold a non-denominational Thanksgiving service for the 1 year in government. We've spoken to some Ghanaians. We went into the business community. There have been varying thoughts on President Mahama's 1 year in government. Let me come to you as a person. How has the 1 year been for you?
All right, let me say good morning to our viewers. As a person, nothing has surprised me in the past 1 year of President Mahama's government. I didn't have any conviction in him. I didn't believe he was a changed man. I knew he didn't have any policy plans coming into government. And so, despite the fact that people are surprised, people are disappointed, I am not a bit, because that has been my belief, that has been my conviction. I knew what he could do. I knew that he wasn't going to be able to do anything. And so I'm not surprised. 1 year, if you ask me as a person, I can't speak to any accomplishments in 1 year because the problems have been many. If you were someone who was doing some project, especially let's say construction and then another Danko Ekufuado, if you were buying cement at the cost of 80 cedis and you had some projected figure to spend, Mahama comes to power and he throws you off budget, and so everything will come to a standstill. So as you speak today, like I'm saying, anything that is supposed to be driven by government that should make our lives better has not been bettered. As a person, I think that is what I have to say.
Dennis, will anybody be out of place to assume that because you belong to the NPP, that is why you are not seeing anything good in the president's 1 year?
If I belong to the MPP and I'm able to build a mansion today and the NDC, will I ever say that I built it under another Danko Ekufuado or the MPP? No. I would always state the date on which I was able to achieve something in life. Okay. I don't think you can be about to lie. And so it doesn't matter where I belong. You see, you asked me a personal question, and I'm telling you that for the year 2025, if I speak to myself, for instance, if I say I haven't achieved anything at all, it means that probably I have failed myself. But I said that anything that has the effect of governance on, there's nothing I can speak to. But probably there are other areas that you yourself will have to force and get things done. If you don't do that, you can't blame government. But if you are talking about things that government's manifestation will have effect on, I'm saying that I didn't see any good happening in my personal life in 2025. Okay. Now so it doesn't mean whether I'm CPP or NDC. If any NDC person, you see, I listened to some of the street videos you showed, and I heard someone saying 4 years ago it was difficult for somebody to at Christmas give you a gift like fowl and the rest. It's true. Some MPP people, because their friends were employed in the past 8 years, some also were able to get some fowls and rice in Christmas seasons. This year, I don't think they got it, so it was shift. So some of these things are not things that we can use to measure whether we did or we fared well or not. We are talking about tangibles, things that rest with you as a man of your family. What you are able to accomplish, what you are not. These are rare facts that I'm speaking to. You asked me a personal question, and so I'm not doing politics.
Okay. Well,
we'll come back to the politics and have the discussion.
Dennis, I'll come back to you as the NPP. You handed over power to the NDC. But before that, let me go to Madam Janet Nabla, founder of the People's National Party. Janet, thank you for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
And a happy new year to you.
Oh, happy new year to you too.
Well, I was asking Dennis how President Mahama's 1 year has been for him as a person, as Dennis. I'll ask you the same as Janet. President John Dramani Mahama celebrates 1 year as president. How has his governance been for you personally? I'll finally come to the party where you stand on the matter.
Yesterday, I was telling my driver that I have never been stressed. I have never in my life been stressed. I never knew that politics was like this until the NDC came into power and stressed my life, stressed my life up till now. They are still stressing. Even Christmas, we couldn't celebrate Christmas. Every day, one day or another, we are having this thing. There is an information, there is a problem every blessed day. So to me, as Janet Asananabla, 1 year, 2025, it has been okay. Because I am a Christian, and the Bible says that when all other people will say that there is a casting down, those who believe in the Lord will say there is a lifting up. So to me, in the presence of God, there was a lifting up for me. It has nothing to do with finances. It has nothing to do with the economy of this country. It has everything to do with the God I serve who lifted me up. Concerning whatever is happening in the country, I never celebrated Christmas. I do not even Christmas. Like the entire year, it has not been easy. It has been one way or another, from one problem to another and other things. But I want to say that we thank God that the God of Abraham has been merciful and has decided to bring us to 2026, and that is something we should be grateful for. Of course, MPP, NDC, PMP, we are not enemies. We are friends. In fact, we want our president to be well. We want the ministers to be well. All the MPs, all the appointees, we want them to be well so that every day we can be doing boost. But we don't want anything to happen to them. And I think God has brought us here so far. And we all have to thank God for his mercies. It has not been easy. It has not been easy. It has been difficult, especially with the everyday information from the government coming out. We don't have rest. We don't have rest from one big issue to another. And they like it follows each other. So it has not been easy. 2025 was a bad boost, and it wasn't easy. We are tired. Truth be told, we are so tired and exhausted because of one scandal to another. It's not easy. It is not easy at all. But what I will say is that we are still managing, and that is something that we should be grateful for. The Lord has been merciful to me and my family, and this one I must attest that God has been merciful.
Okay. Well, now let me come to you as a party, the People's National Party. You're a political party. Obviously, you would also want to lead the country. Having the NDC have the opportunity to lead Ghana at this time in our political life, how would you assess the leadership of the NDC at this point?
And with that, okay, so we'll talk about the stability of the CD. That one they have done well, because when they came and took over, I think the CD was 14 CDs. Now we have the CD being 11 CD, 12 CD. That is a stability. And I think they have done well. No matter the processes they've used to get to that place, it's okay. They've done well to me. Then we talk about fuel prices. When they came into power, fuel prices were 14 CDs. Now we have fuel prices at well going for 12 CD and 13 or 11 CD. I think it's also okay. It's also okay. They've done well in that aspect too. And I think no matter what, we will have to we have to thank them for what they have done, and also to acknowledge the good things that they have done. You know, I was talking about the promises of our president this morning. You know, the president came up with so many promises and so many mouth-watering promises that made the people of Ghana to vote him into power. One of the promises that made people to vote the president into power had to do with the 24-hour economy. The 24-hour economy purposefully was supposed to give credence to three shift systems, that some people will be working in the morning, others in the afternoon, and others in the evening. And it's because of this that majority of the youth voted for President Mahama, because the unemployment situation in the country is so hazardous that the people will buy into anything. And then when we were trying to tell the president that this is not feasible, the president said it is feasible, that they can do it. We are doomed sayers, so no one should mind us. Truly, the people of Ghana did not mind the PMP. They mind them. And as we speak now, they are those in power. The 24-hour economy is yet to be rolled out. We are not seeing the work of the 24-hour economy. We talk about the Women's Bank. Majority of women who are into small-scale trading, farmers, we talk about hairdressers, dressmakers. These people voted for the president because he gave them a mouth-watering promise about giving them loans with low interest rate to be able to do their business, instead of going to loan sharks and then small micro agencies that were duping them. So because of what the president said, the women of Ghana were so happy. When you look at the Electoral Commission, their register, and you check those who voted in 2025, women surpass men so much. They surpass men. I've been telling people that women are those who make presidents in this country. And the women of Ghana came out and voted for President Mahama based on the fact that he promised that he was going to give them loans with low interest rate. 1 year down the lane, we are here. And President Mahama has not even, we don't know where a bank is. He has not even started with one block for the bank. And when that block will finish, and when the Women's Bank will commence, I have been telling people, is President Mahama going to build one bank in Accra here so that all will come here to access? Or he's going to build 16 banks in all the regions, and all the people from the various districts and communities will go there? Or he's going to build 261 banks in the districts so that all the women will be going there? You know, we've been advising President Mahama. They said that we should not be spectators, but we are not spectators. We have tried our possible best to help this government, and the government says that he doesn't need our help. We've told President Mahama, the Women's Bank, okay, you can pick one room in commercial bank. Every commercial bank has in the districts, the 261 districts, we have commercial banks there. We told President Mahama, why don't you pick just even one room or one corner and call it Women's Bank, so that they will start disbursing their money? Because the women wants to engage in, they want to work. And this thing is not for free. It will help in even increasing the economic situation of this country. This 214 million we gave to Gold Board, $240 million that Gold Board just destroyed, and it just went into the rooms. If we were to use it for the Women's Bank, Ghana would have been better off. So all what we're saying was that the president should try to pick commercial banks and put some shelves there and call it Women's Bank, so that they will start disbursing loans to women. He refused.
It seems to be.
He said he will not do it. So as opposition political party members, what will we do? Because they said as opposition political party members, we should try to help. You come up with your opinion, they will stampede it down. Let's even leave that one and now go into other sectors. The president told us that the president spoke about, came in, and the first thing he did was to attack our state institutions. Look at the judiciary. Look at the security forces, the IGP. Now he's on the electoral commissioner. This is a man who came in, and all what he was doing is trying to divide the country, because he tried to attack the state agencies that were supposed to be neutral and work for the betterment of all Ghanaians, both mighty and small, were supposed to be under these institutions. As we speak now, we are not sure whether when you go to the courts, you will get justice. Because President Mahama removed the Chief Justice and kept his own Chief Justice there, because he said he doesn't like her. When you look at the flimsy excuses that they have given, it violates the constitutional rights of the woman, but it was done. So attack on the judiciary was also one. Then he also came and started fighting with the opposition political parties. LGP and the MPP people were picked, locked up, whilst he asked his own people, he gave them nolli prosequi, that because you are my party members, we now have a constitution that some are more equal than others. When you are an NDC member, you are given a nolli prosequi, that you go. You've committed a crime though, but because you are my party member, I'm giving you a nolli prosequi. But you are not my party member, so you will go to, I'm sending you to court. Even before sending to court, they had to create this type of scenario we have never seen in this country before, whereby they will lock somebody up in the special prosecutor's office, in the Ioko office, and then give the person abnormal bail condition to pay. And when the person can't pay the bail money, the person stays in detention. All these things that they did are undemocratic. It doesn't show that you are fighting corruption. When you cannot fight, you can't even fight corruption when your hands are stained. Your own people, the first Mahama administration that caused financial loss to this country to the tune of 10 billion Ghana cedis, you allow them to go. And you are following people who are owing that 27 million. Some of them are owing what, some small amount of money. But you ask your own people who are owing big amount of money to go. How do we fight corruption this way? Then you talk about the stabilization of the city. You stabilize the city. Before the MPP left office, I think when Nanado was there, December 2024, Belakwa water, the medium, it was 27 Ghana cedis. Today, as we speak, Belakwa water is 36 Ghana cedis. Some are selling it for 35 Ghana cedis. When you go to Western region and other places, it is 40 and 45 Ghana cedis. Where are we going as a country? You've stabilized the city, and yet this is how the city is running. You talk about ideal milk. Ideal milk around Ofankor, Domi, and in its environs is 13 Ghana cedis. Before Nanado left, ideal milk at Commercial Bank was 7 cedi 99 pesos. How did it jump from that to 13 Ghana cedis? So you see that they will tell you that they've stabilized the city, and now the city there is blah blah blah. But when you look at when you go to the market,
when you look at the retail cost of some of these on the retailers who are selling it, because they've gone to buy it wholesale. The way they sell it is dependent on them. Will that have to be a burden on the Mahama government?
Yes, it should be a burden on the Mahama's government. Reason is this: even US, that Ghana went and borrowed US and UK their democracy from. They have something they call price control for essential goods and services. So if America has price control for essential goods and services, and what they do is that when you talk about health, accommodation, food, and other things, they know very well that these are things that people and transport. These are things that are necessary for everyone, whether the person has money or not. So let's practice price control. So they moderate some of the prices. Why will Ghana, a country like Ghana, a small country like Ghana, sit down and say that they are doing what economy? That they're a free market economy. Where have you heard that there's a free market economy operating? Where? So the government, and I heard President Mahama when he was, look, the PMP, we came out that when we win, we will practice price control mechanism. Immediately, President Mahama heard it. He went and said that they will practice price control mechanism. On several occasions, I've asked him, Your price control mechanism you said you were going to practice, where is it? The Minister for Trade is there. He won't even go to Nestle Ghana Limited to ask what is happening. Why? How much are you selling? What's the problem? Your production fees have reduced. Why? How much do you give it to the retailers? Then you go to the market. You can't do that. Do something. Just do something. Let Ghanaians know that you are working as a Minister for Trade. That is not being done. They leave everything in the hands of the trader. Did I vote for trader? If the traders have power over us, why are we voting for a government? Because we should rather vote for the traders. Maybe they will have mercy on us. The reason why we have a government in place is to make sure that he moderates things for everyone. But when the government throws his hands into the air to tell us that, I am not responsible for this, that government is not fit to be voted for. Let me tell you something about transport. I told you about fuel prices.
Let Dennis come in and then I'll come back for you to talk about transport.
Can I make just this one small point and finish with that? So we'll talk about the transport. I told you that fuel prices have reduced. Even though fuel prices have reduced, transportation prices have not reduced. Ghana is like we are working for the bourgeoisie. Those who are rich, they will continue to have money, and those who are poor will continue to wallow in abject poverty. Why is it that those who don't have cars, how many percent of Ghanaians have cars, and yet you reduce prices, it's not reflecting on trotro and taxes, and you are keeping quiet? So when you look at President Mahamad's 1 year term, there's a problem, a very big problem.
Well, Jonathan, I'll come back and we'll see how we can solve those very big problems that you talk about. Dennis, President Mahama, 1 year in government, Ghanaians decided that we're tired of the NPP. Let's give the NDC the opportunity. The NDC presented John Dramani Mahama on the ticket, and Ghanaians saw some good in him to bring him back after voting him out. 1 year in government, how would you assess that?
Yes, I think elections is something that every politician must be happy with. Because if you are given the opportunity and you mess up a bit, you forget yourself, you become carefree. At a point in time, you lose the power. And it is only when you come and sit back that you get to know that you actually made some few mistakes or whatever. So I think that Ghanaians never erred by deciding to vote for the NDC to come back to power. The only problem that I had was the fact that the NDC was coming back to power with Mahama as the president. Because like I told you earlier, I never had any conviction that he was going to be a change man. I never saw any good policy direction that he was coming to power with. It was only kind of playing on the emotions of Ghanaians. And Mahama, more or less, is a political demagogue. He's able to look at the situation and speak to it and make people feel that he was the best fit. 1 year into government, we were in power from 2017 to 2024. And so as they normally want to do a comparison of the economy, they say they do it year on year. And so year on year, 2017 against 2025, Akufo-Addo against Mahama. I've always been telling the NDC people that if you are in the NDC and you think that your goodwill is unsurmountable, then it's quite interesting. Why? Because in another Danko Akufo-Addo's 2017, no labor union in this country got up in strike and demonstrations. No organization in this country. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo came to power on the back of the policy of the free education. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo made sure that in September 2017, free education was implemented and implemented fully. Nana Addo had the goodwill to the extent that if in 2017 he had decided to impose some taxes on the Ghanaian people just for the delivery of the free education, Ghanaians were prepared to pay. He said, no, I have come to help the poor. And if I want to impose some more taxes, one way or the other, is going to have an effect on the poor. And so government is now going to swallow the bitter pill, make sure that we look for money wherever it's necessary to implement free education. And so at the end of 2017, if my sister Janet was asked the same question, she wouldn't be here telling us that Nana Addo came on the back of free education and free education was not visible, as she's alluding to the 24-hour economy today. Another Danko Akufo-Addo in 2017 removed 17 taxes to reduce the burden of Ghanaians. If it were at that point, Ghanaians today at Abosuakan would have told you that, yes, the duty that we were paying in 2016 has been reduced. It wouldn't have been as they put it today that it has gone up. And interestingly, I always ask this question. Mahama comes to power. He says he has reduced some taxes at the port, blah, blah, blah. When you go to the port, the duty that our importers pay is dollar rated. And so if in the year 2024, the rate of the dollar to the cedi at the port was 14 cedis, and today it is less than 12.5. How come? Haven't told us that we've reduced taxes. The dollar rate is now low, and still people are paying more. Where is this economics coming from? It tells you that the government has not been truthful to the people of this country. So Mahama's 1 year has been 1 year of deceit, 1 year of populism. Unfortunately for the people of this country, they don't take into account historical antecedents that have taken us to where we are. When Anado Danko Akufo-Addo in 2020 was spending on COVID, he told the people of this country that the economy was going to go down, but he had what it took to bring the economy back on track. And so, yes, between 2020 and 2022, we all saw how deep the economy dived. And we all got to know that, yes, Ghanaians were suffering. Notwithstanding, Anado Danko Akufo-Addo took major interventions. One of them caused the NPP. The DDEP is one policy that caused the NPP so much in the election of 2024. However, don't forget that it is through the same DDEP that caused Ghana to be given some relief in terms of our loan burdens. We were forgiving about 3 billion worth of our loans. Our debt was cancelled. And because of that, today government is bold to come and tell you that debt over GDP ratio has come down. It has come down because some commitment that we were going to make, close to $3 billion, is no longer on us. Another Danko Akufo-Addo forced so much to make sure that we become stable. You come and then you talk about stabilization of the city. Yes, when the NPP went into IMF in 2022, one of the conditions that restricted us not being able to reduce depreciation to a large extent was the fact that the IMF gave us a condition that the Bank of Ghana could not inject more than $80 million into the Ghanaian market or through the banks as at a point of distress, as intervention to make sure that traders got the dollar, not more than $80 million. Today, because the IMF conditions were followed through under the NPP, we met all the benchmarks that they gave to us, and the economy was getting back on track. The NDC is now able to push $1 billion a month. $1 billion a month is how much they push into the market of today to make sure that the city has been stabilized to that point. If the MPP was given the opportunity to inject only 80 million a month, and the dollar that escalated to 17 cities was able to be brought down to 14 million, assuming the MPP had been given the opportunity to inject close to $200 or $300 million into the market, how low would the MPP have been able to brought the dollar to? And so all these are things that Mahama is taking a free ride on. The people do not even have the time, the knowledge, the expertise to know that, yes, what we are experiencing today started from somewhere. That is not worrying. At least it is not the work of the NDC to go and tell the people of this country how we got there. It is for the MPP to go back, explain to the people that this is how we got here. Now, President Mahama, in first year of his administration, is not able to implement any good thing that he said he was going to do in terms of thematic areas. All the thematic points that he raised, my sister has already spoken about the Women's Bank. Last year, don't forget, he gave whoever they are. We don't even know that President Mahama, I don't think, has even appointed a CEO to head the Women's Bank. So we don't know who he gave the 50 million Ghana cedis to. It has gone just like that. Now, this year, he says that the 400 million cedis that he said he was going to use to establish the bank is now budgeted for it. We don't know who is going to spend the 400 million Ghana cedis. And so the women of this country who had the confidence, who had the belief in the NDC and Mahama, that they were going to be giving money to work, the 450 million cedis, we don't know where it is, we don't know where they've laid the foundation to the bank. Everything we don't know, but the money is gone. Mahama and the NDC have decided that every money they will need to run elections in the year 2028, they have to find it now. So 2025 became a cash cow for the NDC. They used all means to make sure that they stole from the people of this country to make sure they get money. This 240 million cedis, dollars that we are talking about, what is it? It is money that was channeled through Bower Rock. Bower Rock will go and buy gold at a higher price and sell it to Bank of Ghana at lower price. The margins, where does it go? It's left with Bower Rock. And so all these are things that the NDC did in 2025 to make sure that they accrue enough so that they're able to buy the conscience of the people of this country in 2028. President Mahama came on the strong ticket of fighting corruption. And my sister made a point, I want to correct her. He said that people owe 10 billion cedis. Mahama is giving them only prosecuted. NPP people owe 27 million, the likes. No NPP person owes. No court in this country has said that it has established that any NPP person under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has embezzled any funds. These are mere allegations put out there by the serial communicator, the Attorney General, who has, in fact, spoken in public more than any commentator in this country in the year 2025, without taking to the cause to go and fight for us. That indeed, if anybody has stolen the money of this country, he was going to work effectively to make sure we get the money back. No. The NDC people who were convicted, including the governor of the Bank of Ghana, someone who is supposed to superintend over the whole fiscal policy of this country, was standing in court against corruption. And the whole president comes and says that, yes, I need him to do my bidding in the Bank of Ghana. There is some kind of Ponzi schemes I would want to run. Without him, I will not be able to do it. So, Attorney General, you are my lawyer. Go to court and tell the court that I'm not interested to fight that case on behalf of the people of this Ghana, or the people of Ghana. And so, he's let go and given another juicy contract.
On the call, we'll establish contact so we can have some more conversation. But you see on your screen the Thanksgiving service happening at the presidency at the moment, the non-denominational Thanksgiving service at the presidency, 1 year of President John Dramani Mahama and his government in power. We look forward to establishing contact with Dennis and Janet so we can continue our conversation. We'll be ending shortly so that you can also appreciate the Thanksgiving service that is happening at the presidency. 1 year of President Mahama. Janet has shared her thoughts on the 1 year of President Mahama. Dennis is also sharing his thoughts. But the question is, looking forward, he's done 1 year. President Mahama has done 1 year. 3 years ahead of him. What should we be prioritizing? What should we be looking at? What should we be looking forward to so that all of us can be excited? I mean, as Ghanaians, first off, before everything, we're all proud to be Ghanaians because we enjoy a certain life, a certain stability as Ghanaians that we can never throw away, we can never be ungrateful for. And so as Ghanaians, we are always excited about it. But President Mahama 1 year in government, how do you assess it? How do you react to it? Has it been great so far? Have you enjoyed President Mahama being in government for 1 year? We'll see how that one goes. And so we've been speaking to Janet Nabla, the founder of the People's National Party, and Dennis Kwakwa, former Ashanti Regional Communications Director for the NPP, on this matter, on this conversation. And so we look forward to establishing contact with them once more so that we can continue our conversation. But let me take you to the presidency so that you also see what is happening there with regards to the non-denominational Thanksgiving service for 1 year of being in government. President Mahama, it's happening at the presidency. Well, you're welcome back from the presidency. Just be assured that we'll take you there so that you can enjoy the full service that is happening. But let me continue the conversation. Dennis is back. Hello, Dennis. Thank you for joining me once again. I lost you at a point.
Abraham, so I was saying that President Mahama just looked out for Dr. Siama so that he'll be able to come and stay in the Bank of Ghana and do all the bad things that he wants to do for him. I hope you heard that this year and last year, the Bank of Ghana printed money without even parliamentary approval. So all these are things that President Mahama is doing. You hear speculations. President Mahama is dashing land cruises to some pastors and prophets in this country so that they speak for him. All the CSOs that had voices in the year 2024, today all of them are quiet. Why? Because all of them are being bought and they are giving very, very flashy cars. These are the things that are speculated. And so President Mahama in 2025 only came to do politics, not to rule Ghana. He's forgotten about the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian. You come to power and, mind you, if you go to the pump today and you buy a liter of petrol at 12.8 or whatever, don't forget that. But for President Mahama's greed and insensitivity, you are going to pay 1 cedi less, because he decided that because world market prices were falling and because he was having enough dollars that were reserves accumulated by the MPP and through the gold purchase program was able to push money into the market to stabilize the cedi a bit. He was not going to allow the ordinary Ghanaian to enjoy the benefit of these occurrences, and so he was going to tax you 1 cedi on every liter of fuel that you buy a day. So, but for his greed and insensitivity, the pumps would be reflecting 1 cedi lower in prices. You have a president who comes to government and decides to attack the constitution of this country, something that every politician in this country has tried to avoid. He is so greedy to the point that he thinks that he must be worshipped as a god. And so everything that he's doing must move to his benefit, to his advantage, to make him so supreme. A time should come in Ghana when he speaks and no one would dare to respond in opposition. So I believe that President Mahama's 1 year is only a year good for the NDC people and the people that he has appointed into government. And don't forget, he's running the most biggest scam of family and friends. Joyce Bauer, who was so loud in opposition, in her own household, I talk about household, talking about her household as a family house, 5 people have been given appointment under this government. Joyce Bauer alone. And so, you go to Savannah region, and the number of people that President Mahama has given appointments in this country are far more than about 3 or 4 regions put together, what they got. And so President Mahama has decided to run the country to his advantage, to make sure that if there's any personal score that he had to settle in life, he thinks that the next 4 years is the best time for him to finish everything. Ibrahim Mahama is now in the lead in mineral accumulation. All the mineral resources in this country that are rich are targeted. Having taken over the black Volta something, it's now, I hear there's another one in the offline. He's now making plans to come back and take the Nahini bauxite. All these are schemes that President Mahama has put in place to make sure that by the end of the 4 years, he would have sold Ghana to himself and his family. And so President Mahama's 1 year has been nothing but self-satisfaction.
Well, so then that's your assessment of President Mahama's 1 year. Quite interesting to note that. But let's move away from President Mahama's 1 year and take a look at our constitution, the 1992 constitution. Today is Constitution Day, and rightly, this constitution is one that has persisted over a long time, more than any constitution that we've had since independence. As we celebrate Constitution Day, what do we look forward to as we take stock or take account of how far we've come as a people?
Yeah, so when I go to social media these days and I read some posts and commentaries from the young people of this country, and interestingly, they call themselves Gen Zs. Unfortunately, in Ghana, everything is misconstrued. When you go to Gen Zs, maybe abroad, they have their own lifestyle. They want to live it for the positive aspect of life. But in Ghana, they think that, oh, we are Gen Zs, we must be distracted, we must always write, excuse my language, something rubbish against anybody that we feel that we don't like. But people sometimes even go to the extent of saying that they prefer that people even organize a coup, blah, 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 simply because they've not witnessed this and they think that when it happens, it will not have any effect.
That is at the doorstep of Gen Zs. I think sometimes we are not being too fair to them.
I'm saying that most of the things that I read, and I'm alluding to what I've read and the people who associate with them. So I'm not just picking them because I don't like them. Most of the people who are very close to us fall into that category. You get the 1997 people in the system. They are the most of the youth today. And so I'm not being unfair simply because I don't like them. But I'm making a point as to what I've been reading. And if you remember, I've even said on your show that if you are not careful, Mahama will gag the media, including social media, to the point that the young people in this country who are unemployed and have decided to do something for themselves by way of online trading, online business, are all going to be affected one day because Mahama wants to become so powerful that he doesn't want anybody at all to even use social media to criticize him. And so I always caution the youth. The cool aspect of their commentaries is nothing that anybody should be happy for. A coup d'etat will never lead this country into anywhere. So at least we all appreciate the fact that the 1992 Constitution has stood for over 30 years, at least for the first time in the history of this country. The first Constitution of this country stayed for only 6 years. The second Republican Constitution stayed for less than 3 years. The third Republican Constitution stayed for less than 4 years. And today we have one that has been able to stand for more than 30 years. It is something commendable. And it is the reason why we want to always raise our voices against President Mahama. When he decides to make sure that every aspect of the Constitution is tackled, he wants to put every arm of government in this country under his armpit. And that is the danger that we face today. If you sleep and you think through very well, ask yourself, who are the people who normally engineer coup d'etat? Are they not military officers? All the top people who had taken time to go into military rose to the ranks of general because President Mahama doesn't like them. He has forced them to go home because he wanted to make a one-star general the chief of the defense staff. And by their own statutes, once the chief of defense staff is chosen, no other military officer can be above his rank. And President Mahama decided to ignore all the 4 stars, the 3 stars, the 2-star general to appoint a 1-star general. And all these people have gone home, I think, with their operational directors also. And so if you are not careful, you are pushing into the system. And it's a system of apathy. A lot of big men who have toiled their life to have stayed in service in defense of this country, to make sure that they also achieve something for their lives one day to be proud of. You've taken them home. These are
Hello, Dennis.
all.
Dennis, can you please position yourself better so that we can hear you?
Be able to survive the test of time or not. So President Mahama has been a problem. Hear me now? Hello?
Yes, Dennis, I'm listening to you. You're saying that President Mahama is the problem, but we're looking at our constitution from when it came in 1992. And can we lay whatever blame it is at the doorstep or the feet of President John Dramani Mahama?
I'm not saying that we have not had problems. I'm saying that it has stood the test of time, at least for 30 years.
Okay.
All presidents have avoided the temptation. Before avoided under the Fourth Republic. Yeah, last time I told you, even President Rollins, who people saw being so authoritative, avoided that temptation of attacking the judiciary arm of government under the Constitution. President Mahama's own greed has caused him to attack the judiciary, and that is the danger we have. And so I'm saying that 30 years we have all done well by protecting it. The NDC were there, the MPP have been there, CPP played their role, my sister's party are playing their part. Every one of us Ghanaians must be commended for the efforts that we made to make sure that the Constitution stands for over 30 years for the first time in our history. But we cannot overlook the present situation under President Mahama, how he wants to rule this country. If you are not careful, you become the most, the most fortunate president whose tenure in the first year of President Mahama, all the ills that he did to this country, to the people of this country, the people decided not to talk because they think he came to power at a time that the MPP was so unpopular. He's given massive majority in parliament, and therefore they see him as God. Irrespective of all these things that Ghanaians awarded him free of charge, he still thinks that he must take control over everything. And if you are not careful, his greed is what is going to disturb the constitution of this country. And so over 30 years down the line, I believe that yes, the Constitutional Amendment Committee have done some work. Unfortunately for us, they did not even move around this country well enough to gather the sentiments and the suggestions that people might have. But whatever it is, they've done some work. It was started under Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. President Mahama has come and they have at least laid hands on a very big document. We must start from there and look at the things that are important to be amended, so that one day, if we get another greedy president like Mahama, who obviously will not come from the MPP, that person will also not tackle any arm of government to make sure that he destroys the constitution of this country. So I believe that we have not had it all rosy, but we cannot also condemn the constitution because at least we've been able to live with it for over 30 years now.
Okay. Well, Madam Abla, let me come to you and take a look at the 1992 constitution. How has it been so far? And moving on.
I don't know whether you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So I heard him talking about the youth saying that they want a military coup and blah, 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 blah. You know that no one will get up and want a coup, those Gen Zs. I remember I went to Medina during the campaign seasons to talk to them. And the people told me that the truth is that they know that when the NGC comes, the NGC will not do the right thing, they know. But if it is left with any political party, they will not vote, because none of the political parties will do anything. So they want a military coup. And I asked them, what do you mean? I came to talk to you and you tell me you want a military coup. You want a military coup? So we had to talk about it. But then, this 1992 constitution we are running is a constitution that is bound to fail. I'm telling you. Because a constitution that gives so much power to the politician, and the politician is not working for the interests of the country, he's not working for the vulnerable, they are not working for anyone. They come up with campaign messages, well-articulated campaign messages to deceive the people. Then after the people vote for them, they refuse to implement those policies, and they use their power to do businesses for themselves and their family and friends. This is not democracy. The present democracy we are running in Ghana is not democracy. This is autocratic regime that have been orchestrated through a ballot box. The difference between Ghana's democracy and the military regimes that we have is that the military regime people, they execute the things for the people. But Ghana's so-called military regime that they have turned it as democracy, they trample on the rights of ordinary people. So if the youth are crying and calling for a coup, they are not, to me, they are not wrong. They are telling we politicians that we are sitting on a time bomb. And you can deceive some of the people some of the time, but you cannot deceive all the people all the time. Because we all know the people, the categories of people that benefit from this constitution that we are talking about. A constitution whereby when a political party comes, all power is handed over to the party. And the party is not working to make sure that the people of Ghana, they are liberated from poverty, to work for this country. It is geared towards family, friends, and then that is it. Who can take this? Look at the number of youth that have completed schools and they are roaming around looking for jobs that they can't find. Look at the number of frustration written on the youth of Ghana, their faces, that we can just push $240 million just aside. It's gone like that. We are talking about huge sums of money that politicians comes into place and they try to amass to the detriment of the Ghanaian population. And we are here talking about a constitution. Is this a constitution? The constitution that is being violated by politicians. Is that a constitution? Do you know that? Let me tell you something. We have something called the Directive Principles of State Policy. Article 36(6)(b) of that Directive Principles of State Policy says that whenever there is going to be an employment, they should make sure that they don't pick men more than women. They should give gender equality and make sure that gender is exercised so that women are not left behind. Are you aware that the Labour Commission came out with a report that 87% of men were picked in the public sector, not private too, and 13% of women were picked? When we have a lot of women who have gone to school now, they've completed school, they are roaming around looking for jobs, they cannot find jobs, and the state is the one that is even denying the employment of women. And yet, it is the same constitution we are talking about. Before even the affirmative action came into place, there was a directive principle of state policy in Article 36(6)(b) that was supposed to be used to protect women. That clause they have refused, rejected, renounced it. Anything that is supposed to help, they are not using it. So this is not a constitution. A constitution whereby you can pick and choose is not a constitution. You see? So if the youth are calling for a coup, they are calling for a coup because they think the political parties that are in place are not working for their betterment. That is the reason why they are calling for a coup. In fact, I saw a research that was done by someone, and then 57% of Ghanaians said that they don't want political parties anymore participation. They want a coup. When they said that, I felt sad. But when I sat down and looked at the inequalities, looked at the real intentions of politicians of going around trying to kill each other to get power, and the power is for family, friends, and loved ones. It is not for the people. Then I realized that these people are right in saying that this is what they are looking for. So politicians will have to sit up. I have said it and I'm saying it again, that politicians, we are sitting on a time bomb. Did you check the 2024 voters population? It was sad. Can you imagine that out of 17 million voters population, when you combine both MPP and NDC, their votes together, it was 11 million. Out of, I said 17, out of 19 million voter population, you calculate the two of them and add them together, and it is 11 million. Almost 8 million Ghanaians said they will not vote. Meaning people are becoming disinterested in politics. They are no longer interested because politicians have destroyed their life on several occasions that they said they are done. They are done with it. So as we are here talking about politics, we are sitting on a time bomb because we have to realize that Ghana is not for you forming a political party to come and amass wealth. The reason why political parties are formed is to look for the betterment of the Ghanaian, to make sure that the right thing is done, to make sure that people work, people become ministers. And what do? They don't do anything. No. Good of the ministers have come out to roll out the plan that he has for the ministry. Because a minister calling the press and telling the press that I'm using this press as mouthpieces of the various of Ghanaians to tell me this is what I want to do. But if you want me to do something in the ministry that I've not mentioned it here, bring your point. Let's look at how we can be able to come together to make Ghana great using my ministry. How many of the ministries did that? And you know, we have this, they said we should choose a majority of our ministers from parliament. And so majority of the ministers are from parliament. Are you aware that anyone who is a minister and is a parliamentarian, the person doesn't work? Are you aware? He will never mind anybody when you go to that ministry, which is meant for Ghanaians. His constituents from his constituency will occupy all seats. You can't get a seat to sit down. No matter what problem you come in with, they will occupy the seats, occupy everywhere. They turn that place into the constituency's office. Any job opportunity in that ministry, the minister will give it out to the constituency. Ghanaians no go area for that distance. Those people are not working for the betterment of Ghanaians. So that is why when they said they should decouple the ministers from MPs, I was so happy. And if they say no, as we are saying, if you think that you want to enjoy the youth, the Generation Z, they are on their way coming. And they are looking at you and they are thinking that we are being cheated. These resources are not for only these people, but they think that they can manpower it because they are old in tricks and they can trick us. We will not agree. The day that the youth will rise up and say they will not agree, that is when the people of Ghana will be in trouble.
All right, Janet.
Because politicians are not working, and we have to rise up to work.
Well, okay, Ms. Nabla, thank you so much. We were unable to have some more conversations because of our time, and so I would like to thank you, Dennis. Thank you for speaking with us this morning, and Janet, thank you so much for speaking with us. We look forward to speaking more on this matter. Look at our constitution, especially as the Constitution Review Committee has submitted this report, to wait for Government Implementation Committee to also look at it and see how it affects the 1992 Constitution that we have. Thank you so much for joining me this morning on the conversation.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Have a great day. Janet Nabla is the founder of the People's National Party. Dennis Kwakwa, former Ashanti Regional Communications Director for the NPP. That's all for our main discussion this morning. Let me take you back to the presidency so that you can also appreciate the non-denominational Thanksgiving service happening. From there, we will come back and then bring you the latest in the world of sports. Stay with us.
Thank you, Ebenezer. This is how far you have brought us. We honor you, O God. We glorify you, Father. You are faithful. You are merciful. This is the doing of the Lord. It's marvelous in our eyes. And now we pray for your servant. Lord, grant him the seven spirits of God. Grant him the spirit of the Lord, the spirit of wisdom, understanding, counsel, power, might, the fear of God. May he not judge by what he sees with his eyes or hears with his ears. Grant him supernatural protection. Oh, let heavens open over Ghana because of him. Let his tenure be marked with great transformation, peace, and restoration. We pronounce your blessing on your servant and this nation in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Can you take your seats? Clap is a weapon. Clapping says, yes, we agree with you. Clapping says, yes, God, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Thank you, Honorable General Superintendent. The impact of gratitude to God and national development. The Lord is resetting, the Lord is rebuilding, and the Lord is renewing our dear nation, Ghana. And therefore, this transformation calls for thanksgiving. Thank you once again, Reverend, dear Reverend Stephen Yenison Wengam. It's now my singular honor and pleasure that we invite Sheikh Kamel Mohammed of the Al-Hul Sunnah. He's the Deputy Imam at the Al-Hul Sunnah to come and then also share a few words with us. And right after that, we shall also have the, pardon me, I could not do the pronunciation well. I was just being coached, pardon me, I'll do better. We shall also have them pray for the nation. We shall have them pray for the nation. And right after Sheikh Mohammed will invite the one who will lead us to pray.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come see you. Wait, this guy. My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the Talking Point. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
I'm James Markion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Back from the presidency. Now let's bring you the latest in the world of sports. Eugene Oforisoti joins me here. Eugene, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Finally, the last round of games have been played.
Exactly.
All right, bring us what we need to know in the world of sports.
So welcome to the sports segment today. I'm Eugene Oforisoti. Well, let's start from the AFCON, where the boys have been separated from the men. The last round of 16 fixtures took place yesterday. At 4 p.m. Algeria took on the Democratic Republic of Congo, and just when it looked like it was going towards extra time, Algeria put a dagger through the hearts of the DR Congo fans, but ensuring that they scored the only goal of the game to end it at 1-0.